Welcome, Cancer Risings, to your astrology for August. I'm Cosmic Girl. Trust you're doing well. And thank you for being here. So, we're talking about astrology in this video for the month of August, planets and transits, lunations. And we are going to focus on what's going on for the Cancer Rising signs for the month of August before we get into the transits. Okay. So, you have Jupiter and Venus currently transiting, which means they're visiting your natal first house, which is your body, your health, your identity, your appearance. And so Jupiter and Venus are cruising together, the two benefics of our solar system. Benefic planets mean they're life-giving. They bring a lot of life, like let's breathe, get some air in our lungs. Let's just get going kind of planets, which is great. Until the 25th, they're working together, then Venus will move on. But at the opening of the month until the 25th, two benefics working in unison in the first house of self gives the Cancer rising signs opportunities to grab at their own free will. What do you want to engage with? What do you love and value? Will be a focus. And when you love and value something, maybe something that you don't actually have right now, get your motor going here with Venus and Jupiter in your natal first house to the 25th. So if you're feeling the urge to start new starts, you can thank Venus and Jupiter sort of helping you out, bringing the life force back into the physical body and the self. So really quite beautiful transit. We've got 2 lunations this month, as always. Well, sometimes we have 3. And the moon is your chart ruler as a Cancer rising sign. And this month we have a full moon in Aquarius. And we also have a new moon, the first of 2 new moons in Virgo this month. So we're going to get into the meat and bones of what that means for you in those lunations when we get there in the video. So opening up the month, the focus really is on you with Jupiter and Venus in the natal first house. That's what, so if you're a Cancer rising, you're like, what's going on for me? Well, you've got the benefic Jupiter here until the 30th of June 2026. He rules the natal 6th house of work, health, service, injury, labour, things that we do on the daily. Like care for our pets, maybe want to get new pets. It's where we wash the dishes, we go to work, we go to the corner store and get what we need. It's the natal 6th house is pretty familiar to us. And Jupiter rules that natal 6th house in your first house. So you might be starting new work systems or really feeling the work or the daily grind really wearing on your body, or how your body's responding in kind to all of this work and service. And you might be ready to shift things up there. Jupiter always also rules the natal 9th house of Pisces. And that's all about religion, any epistemology, Buddhism, Catholicism, Greek Orthodox, you name it, anything esoteric, astrology, tarot, the runes, I Ching. So that natal 9th house of religion encompasses many things. It's about our faith and our beliefs and our hopes in life. And it's the natal 9th house is about travel, like long distance travel. It's the natal 9th house is higher education, very academia-minded natal house. We want to learn. We want to learn about new philosophies. The natal 9th house is foreigners and foreign places. Maybe you want to go on a pilgrimage, take yourself out of your normal haunt and get out and amongst it kind of transit with the ruler of your natal 9th house in your natal first house till the 30th of June 2026. Really interesting. I uploaded a separate video for the Cancer rising signs about Jupiter's transit in your natal first house. It's on my channel, so you have to scroll down on my YouTube channel and you'll see. You'll find it pretty easily because I didn't do it too long ago. Okay, so you've got the wind at your proverbial back from the benefics to the 25th, saying, well, what do you love? What is it that you want? What do you value? What do you want to really emotionally connect to? You want to start a new relationship. You want to start looking at what you value about your appearance. Maybe you want to upgrade your physical appearance. That kind of transit. It's the benefics are giving you life force till the 25th, working in unison. Absolutely beautiful, opening up the month of August. So enjoy that. Okay, so now we're going to get into the planets in transits, and then we'll hone in on those lunations, and I'll wrap it up at the end of the video on the overall astrology for the month of August and what you can experience. So we know that Jupiter and Venus are in the natal first house for quite some time together. But Jupiter's staying behind, don't forget. So Jupiter's going nowhere. So Jupiter's looking to you for new beginnings, new inspiration. When a planet visits your temple, then Jupiter's saying to the moon, what environment, people, places, and faces and experiences are nourishing and supportive, and how are you going to help me get things going? Jupiter's asking you, how are we going to get things going regarding that ninth house and that sixth house? So really, really beneficial transit. You're setting off a whole new 12-year cycle here with Jupiter in your natal first house. So Venus in Cancer is like the mama bear, very protective of her emotions and her young. So Venus also here in the natal first house can have you intuitive, like just serendipitous moments where you just like, oh, wow, I feel like I got deja vu, or oh, I'm in the right place at the right time kind of transit with Venus in the natal first house, where you just feel it in your waters that something's right and ready to fire on all cylinders with Venus here as well, to the 25th of August. So the astrology bodes well, Cancer rising signs, for really digging your emotional heels into something that's got substance and gumption and belief and optimism and value that supports you in a nourishing, nurturing, compassionate way. It's really quite a beautiful transit for you. I sincerely hope you are enjoying it. Okay, so Uranus will be sextiling Saturn and Neptune retrograde for the month. So Uranus is an outer planet, it's a generational planet. And Uranus in Gemini is trying to till the soil, if you will, in the natal 12th house of looking at different options and varieties on how you can work with things in isolation, where you do the hard yards just for yourself. And if you feel like you're losing yourself and being blown around by the wind, Uranus here will help you create more freedom and liberation from doing things the same way. So it's quite a beneficial transit with Uranus in your natal 12th house. But for the whole month, you've got Uranus sextiling outer planet Neptune and Saturn. And so this is an easy connection. Sextiles are easy. They're like familiar to us. They're not as acute as an opposition, a square, or a conjunction. Sextiles are like opportunities that are there, but we got to reach out and grab them or we'll miss them kind of things. That's a sextile. So for the whole month with Uranus in your natal 12th house connecting to your natal 10th house to Saturn and Neptune retrograde, this can be subtle hints, subtle like serendipitous hints, would be another good word, of capitalizing on improving your career or public status. Dealing with things of an official capacity might be a little easier for the month to break through things that have been a little wearing on you mentally. So it's really good for the month to get down to brass tacks, but this is a sextile where you might not see the opportunities to wrap things up. So if you're all engaged and all up in your fields with Jupiter and Venus in the natal first house, you might be so focused on starting new starts and really protecting and loving what you have an agenda towards, and that's absolutely fine. But with these connections from the outer planets and Saturn from your 12th to your 10th, there's also an opportunity to end things that you may be glossing over if you're too focused on new beginnings. That's that kind of transit lingering in the background for the month. Pluto is also sextiling Saturn and Neptune retrograde for the month in your natal 8th house to your natal 10th house. So again, these are sextiles. These are outer planets. And with Pluto really tilling the Aquarius soils of thought, what's been the past and what's the future in your natal 8th house of shared finances, like other people's resources that support you in some capacity. The 8th house is death and inheritance. And death can literally be a death. Absolutely, we can't remove that fact. We are born to die. But death can be the ending of something like a gym membership or a course, or a partner ends a career, or a partner can deal with inheritance and life policies, and you can end something that has been laborious and tedious. And that's quite beneficial when we can end things in the natal 8th house where Pluto's retrograde here. But Pluto's sextiling the outer planet Neptune and Saturn as well. These are like little opportunities that we may miss. And to the natal, from the natal 8th to the 10th, then this is about, there's real potential to, get out of the passive way of dealing with other people's resources, debts, and inheritance, and taking affirmative action as we need to. But if we're too busy focusing on the new, we might miss out on wrapping up the old. So I'm getting astrologically for the Cancer rising signs that, you're ready to start and inject life force into things that's super important to you. But there's also plenty of sextiles connecting with the outer planets and Saturn to also end things. So if you want to start something, it's wonderful, but wrap things up with a nice red bow so they're completely said and done kind of month is what I'm getting for the Cancer rising signs. Like, leave something where it needs to be left. It's over, it's done, it's signed off, it's dated, it's stamped, it's out the door. That kind of, get rid of the paperwork, get rid of the dead wood kind of thing. Even though you're all excited, don't forget the more denser things in life, which is our finances and shared finances and death and inheritance and ending things in our career and our public identity and anything of official capacity. I think they have to be dealt with, so they're dealt with once and for all. So there's opportunities to end things, but I think Cancer rising signs may be just really, really focused on new things. But so it's going to be a bit of a double-edged sword kind of month for August. On the 1st, we have a pretty sticky day. Venus is squaring off with Saturn and Neptune. Yeah, this could be a clash of opinion kind of day. Or like I once was this, but now I'm that. And people go, no, but you've always done this. And you're like, no, but I'm doing this now. So the 1st can be a day of that wrapping things up needs to be sorted before you can get going kind of day. So it can be pretty jarring on the 1st of August. On the 6th, astrologically, there's a lot going on the 6th of August. We've got Mars ingressing into Libra, and Mars is also trining Uranus and opposing Saturn and Neptune retrograde. So astrologically, there's a lot going on. So let's talk about these aspects first before I get into the meat and bones of what the Mars and Libra transit will mean for the Cancer rising signs. So Mars is connecting nicely to the outer planet Uranus, which is in that natal 12th house of, how do you get out of the same old, and where you step out of the limelight and do what you do behind closed doors. But how are we changing that? How are we trying to get ourselves out of that funk of doing things the same way? Uranus here And Mars is sort of hooking up with Uranus. And this looks like a day with Mars trining Uranus where there can be like a disruption in the home or within the family or with your sleep. So it could be hard to rest on the 6th with Mars trining Uranus. So yeah, make sure you're getting nice, good food in your belly before you go to bed. Not be too over exacerbated by social media because the 6th can be really trying on the home family dynamic, or even your sleep pattern could be a little bit disrupted on the 6th with Mars trining up with Uranus. But we've got yeah, profound prophetic dreams as well. I'm getting to on the 6th. And then Mars is standing off with Saturn and Neptune retrograde. Now, Mars is the ruler of the sign of Aries, where Saturn and Neptune are. So think of Mars like physically you're on one side of the solar system and Mars is looking on the other side of the solar system at Saturn and Neptune retrograding in his temple. So Mars in Libra is looking at them going, what are you guys doing? I've got to get cracking. I've got to do things that I need to do to feel good about my relationships and people that I want to connect with. Mars in Libra. But you guys in my temple are slowing things down and you're making things confusing. So this is clear communication day. Again, I'm getting prophetic dreams or big discussions with family or with real estate and property or parents on the 6th, all in all with these connections with Mars to Uranus and Saturn and Neptune. Okay, so let's talk about Mars's transit in Libra in your natal 4th house for till the 22nd of September. Okay, so this is really important because this transit is happening for you, Cancer rising signs, on an angular part of your natal chart. So when planets are on the angular parts of your natal chart, like we know Jupiter and Venus are, and they're in your 1st house, that's an angular part of your natal chart. So that's loud. They're like megaphones. Like they're here to announce something really, really important for you to take stock of Jupiter and Venus. And it's really important from the 6th to the 22nd of September for you to take stock of Mars in your natal 4th house of Libra. So this transit, like Mars is in detriment, traditionally in detriment, is in the temple of Venus. So Mars is looking to Venus for what Mars needs. Mars needs conflict, and Mars needs action, Mars needs war, Mars needs a strategy on how to move forward. Mars needs something to sink his teeth into, like a purpose, a goal, an adventure. That's Mars. So Mars is looking to Venus because Venus is the ruler of Libra. And guess where Venus is? She's in your 1st house, at least until the 25th. So she's squaring Mars. And so this could be a transit from the 6th to the 25th of this month where Mars is like, I want to get into it in Libra in the 4th house of family, real estate, home, property, rest and sleep, where we dream, where we just chill out at the end of the day. That's the natal 4th house. It's our parents. It's how we parent ourselves. So Mars comes in here and says, I want to talk about things. I want to take some action. I want to move. Maybe you want to move. Mars makes like, I need you to move out. I need you to get out of this house. I need you to, become a parent. I need you to, take action on getting your ship right. That sort of transit in Libra. And Libra in of itself is an air yang cardinal zodiac sign. So Libra is the zodiac sign that is up for debate. It's into justice, fairness, equality, and balance. It's a relational zodiac sign, Libra. So this is interesting. So you think of Mars coming in and saying, I want to fight the good fight. I'm all about justice and fairness and balance and, I want to take action. want to get into it. But from the 6th to the 25th, the ruler of Libra, who's sort of providing Mars the goods, is in the natal first house of you. So this transit can this transit suggests astrologically that you might be withholding or stepping back or wanting to sort of disengage from engaging or taking action or dealing with things that need to be dealt with regarding real estate, home, property, parents, parenting, relocation, and your sleep and your home life. So you might want to step away from the family. You may not want to have the responsibility. You may not want to deal with anything, like have a debate, have a talk. Maybe look at something to do with anything of an official or legal capacity with this transit from the 6th to the 25th. So that's what I'm getting for the Cancer rising signs. Feel free to leave any comments. So you might be just like being avoidant of conflict or avoidance of being in the home or around the family, sort of doing your own thing or just wanting time for you. Yeah, really, really interesting dynamic transit. But Mars will be here until the 22nd of September. But when Venus leaves your natal first house on the 25th of this month, leaving Jupiter to do his magic until the 30th of June next year in your natal first house, then Venus is going to be going into the natal second house, which will be Leo. And then Venus is sextiling Mars in the natal fourth house. So when Venus gets into the natal second house, Mars might be able to get some help, get something sorted from Venus. But I think from the 6th to the 25th, it's going to be a bit of hard going within the family, home, real estate, property, your sleep, parents, parenting. It can be a bit tough. Okay. Oh, well, that's life. It's not all roses, yeah? Now we get to the first lunation of the month. So, like I said, we're not dismissing the significance of all the other planets in their transits, but when we get to the lunations, this is your chart ruler now in the headlines, in the spotlight kind of moment of the videos. So our first lunation on the 9th is a full moon in Aquarius. It's at 17 degrees, and this full moon is happening in your natal 8th house. Mars in Libra is trining Pluto retrograde in your natal 8th house on the day of this full moon. I think this is a little bit bigger than we all may anticipate this full moon in Aquarius, but let's get into why for the Cancer rising signs. Well, first of all, the moon is your chart ruler. It's your avatar in this incarnation. And when the moon gets to that point of its full moon phase where we see things for how they really are, what has been brewing beneath the surface now is at that peak of you see, you know, you understand, and other people certainly do as well if you are extending information to them. Full moon phases are fair game, sort of full moon phases. It's fair game. We all get to see, for better or worse. Okay. Now, the moon is your chart ruler, so it rules you, your identity, your body, your health, your appearance. And when it's in the natal 8th house of death, inheritance, and other people's finances and resources, this can be a pretty tricky full moon. Okay. Now, Mars also, as I mentioned, is trining Pluto as well. So this is where I get more astrological information on what might be going on here for you on the 8th. So Mars in the natal 4th house, where it's ready to fire on all cylinders, if you will, and being just that I want to take action, I want to go, something to do with the family, something that you deal with in private, is easily connecting to that full moon by trine. So this can feel like an exacerbating full moon, I will call it, where you can really start to see, come to an emotional awareness or a blunt acknowledgement that other people's resources, death, and inheritance really is grating on you regarding family, the home, parents, parenting, things that you deal with in private is really peaking on the ninth. The ruler of Aquarius is in the natal 10th house of Aries with Neptune retrograde. Um, because that's a significant part of understanding what this lunation is about. I don't mean to sound like I'm dragging it out and keeping you on tenterhooks. That's not my intention. It's just that I think there's a lot going on here for the Cancer rising signs because this is your chart ruler. And the moon in Aquarius isn't your chart ruler, the moon, is not comfortable in Saturn's temples being Aquarius and Capricorn. Just not comfortable. And because the moon rules you, you can like have an emotional, uncomfortable culmination or ending that really does affect you head on, like changes your identity, or you could be changing your identity through a divorce, or something official is coming to an end or a peak regarding death, inheritance, or something of a career aspect of your life. It's because of your family or your home or the environment or parents. Something big is happening here on the ninth of August for you. I really feel that it's going to possibly change you in some shape or form. And because I say that is simply because the moon is your identity in your appearance. So you could be really going through a profound emotional, really personal, intimate change here where and something's run its course. It could be a partner, like someone that financially you have been connected with, has a moment of release. They could be losing their job, or they could, uh, uh, what's that? What's that word? Not resign, retire, or a parent could retire, or a family estate could come into focus. That really gets you all up in it, kind of full moon on the 9th of August. So it can be quite tender. And the moon is in a fixed sign. So I'm not confident that this full moon is supporting you in a really auspicious way. I will call it. I'm not afraid to, because the fixed zodiac signs are unchanging. They they lock jaw in. And when you have a full moon where you start to see, something's not changing regarding death, inheritance, or other people's resources that support you, like a husband or a stockbroker or, I don't know, a business partnership, it can really wear on you. It can be sobering, a very sobering full moon on the 9th of August. Let me know in the comment sections below how this goes. It's not to instill fear into you, astrology. It's letting you astrologically know that what's indicated, what's symbolized, is a tough full moon, and it's got a lot to do with the family, home, parents, parenting, property, real estate, your domestic life, sleep and rest can be really going through it on the 9th. Chart rule of the moon now, after that full moon, is now going into its waning phase before it gets to the new moon, which is on the 23rd of this month. So because the moon is so intimately connected to you, when it's winding down after a full moon, it could feel like a lot of digesting information. emotionally in the body really starts to release some sort of pent up information or emotion moving forward after that full moon phase, where things are less exacerbated, for better words, now that the full moon aha moment has occurred. Now your chart ruler, the moon, starts to integrate, slow down, digest, and process. And that gives you, for better or worse, an opportunity to tune into you and your emotional responses to whatever happened on the ninth. So it's a slow down, processing, integrating phase now after the ninth, before we get to that new moon on the 23rd. Okay? All right. So now, planets and transits. On the 11th, Mercury goes direct in Leo in your natal second house at 4 degrees. Something might come back from the 30th of June this year that now starts to go forward, like where you're waiting on finances, a travel itinerary, correspondence or communication. It now starts to come into your reality moving forward from the 11th. So if you've been in flux about your resources, your skills, uh, assets, possessions, or your livelihood, things start to become more clear moving forward now that Mercury is direct in Leo in your natal second house at 4 degrees. From the 11th to the 18th, so a week, we've got Mars sextiling Mercury. Yeah. So your fourth house and your second house are in conversation here. So home, family, parents, property, real estate, sleep is connecting to the second house of livelihood, assets, possessions, skills, resources, things that you value. Yeah, so this could be a lot of communication. So I would like text messages, emails, phone calls, paperwork, logistics, data, analytics is all up for grabs from the 11th to the 18th. So I think that's going to be a really busy period for you in the month, 18th to the 11th, with Mercury and Mars in a sextile. Also on the 11th, the cherry on top of, of the pie, if you will, Venus and Jupiter are conjunct in your natal first house at 13 degrees. So this is a brand new beginning. Yeah, this is interesting. This could be a brand new start with a friend, a group, a benefactor, someone that supports you, or you can start moving ahead on a dream or a goal that you've been sort of patiently waiting to engage with. Now you can go from the 11th moving forward for whatever reason. You also might be starting, yeah, maybe you're starting to maybe relocate, look at a new home, maybe becoming a parent or changing a dynamic in a parent role. It also could indicate finding out something within the family unit, like information lands on the 11th. It's a really important day for you. And in that first house of self, your identity, your body, your health, who you are, your appearance. Yeah, this could be like I don't know, you turn a friendship into an official relationship, or a friend moves into the home, or you move out of the home and hang out with a friend, or go on a dream holiday. Something like that is happening or starting to open up for you on the 11th of August. Big day on the 11th of August, all in all. From the 12th to the 31st, outer planet Uranus is connecting to outer planet Pluto. So from the 12th to the 31st, this can be an opportunity to end things, step away from things at your own leisure, or actually start tying up things with a nice red bow. So from the 12th to the 31st, it can be a moment of where you need time out, or where you need to really step up to the plate and start to end things. Even though there's nice new beginnings and changes going on for you, I'm still getting astrologically for the Cancer rising signs Some things are ending while some things are beginning at the same time. Double-edged sword kind of month. And from the 12th to the 31st, this is where I think it really starts to get a little bit louder with these transits of the outer planets, that there's a changing of the guard where you need to end things, complete things, and maybe step away at times to recharge and rebalance. Yeah, quite interesting astrology for you, Cancer rising signs. Moving on to the 22nd, we have the Sun leave Leo and now ingress into Virgo, into your house of siblings, extended family members, travel, education, and community for 4 weeks until September 22nd. So the Sun is the ruler of the second house of Leo, and now it's moving into the natal third house. So this transit can be really about weighing the pros and cons, looking at the realities, if you will, for better words, about things that you have, of tangible things, even your skills and resources, and how you can capitalize on them within community, family, extended family members, education, and travel. This 4 week window, if you will, has you in that evaluation mode of where's the best way to put my resources, my energy, my skills, and my talents into the community with siblings and travel and education extended. Like, where do I benefit? How can I benefit from really looking at things very level headed here? Yeah, I'm getting, I don't mean to sound vague. I'm not vague. I'm trying to word it properly. The ruler of the second in the third of Virgo is interested in keeping a harvest, keeping things sustainable. And that can be tricky in Virgo because the sun in Leo is very strong. It's in domicile. It's very aware of stability, nobility, legacy, pride, and being a leader. And in the third of Virgo, it's sort of weighing up, where do I direct my attention in the natal third house for siblings, travel, education, and extended family members and community? What's the benefit? What's the harvest? And how can I capitalize from that natal third house for 4 weeks? And that sounds a little bit cold, but when it comes to your assets, possessions, and your livelihood and things that you do value and put a lot of love and time and effort towards, you want to be able to see the fruits of your labor come to pass. You don't want to see them dwindle away or become chaotic. So this can be a lot about, I need information, I need the paperwork, I need the stats to see where the goods are kind of transit for 4 weeks with the sun in the natal third house. Yeah, really interesting astrology for you, actually. Okay, so we talked about your chart ruler, the moon, now in its waning phase, and now we get to the 23rd, and we've got a brand new start. So now we're in a new moon phase for you, Cancer rising signs, where there's a brand new beginning. It's at 0 degrees of Virgo. It's our first of 2 new moons. There will be a second new moon in Virgo in September, but it will be a solar eclipse. So this is the part of the video where you sit up straight and listen, because this is really important for you, because the moon is your chart ruler and you've got a new beginning here at 0 degrees of Virgo, and it's conjuncting fixed star Regulus, which is the fixed star of power, fame, and royalty, okay, in that natal third house. Now, Virgo in of itself is interested in purifying and cleansing and making things clean and perfect and beautiful, and can be fastidious, can be very teacher oriented, a good instructor. That's Virgo. But wants to know where the harvest is, where the goods are that can sustain it. Virgo's interested in something that it can sustain and hold on to. So this new moon in your natal third house, which we just discussed, conjunct fixed star Regulus, this can be a golden opportunity in community, siblings, extended family members, travel and education. So this is a new moon to confidently step into a new environment, put your body, your heart and soul into something that is going to benefit you in a profound way. So weighing up the pros and cons and saying, oh, is the juice worth the squeeze? Those questions are valid, especially at the time of on the 23rd of August, where you are really all up in the head and weighing things up. Where is the juice? Is the juice worth the squeeze? Is this going to pay off for me? This new venture regarding siblings, travel, education, your community, or extended family members. But the fact that it's conjunct fixed star Regulus, which is to do with fame, royalty, and power, this new beginning um, does have a lot of longevity connected to it, is what I'm getting astrologically for you. So it's almost like an investment that's worth the distance kind of new moon for you on the 23rd, should you want to engage. Should you want to engage. This could be like a new schools in the community, new teaching opportunities, new facilities in your community that you can benefit from, putting yourself in a new environment in the community, or siblings or extended family members could have a nice little new beginning as well. That is quite beneficial. Really interesting new moon. But because we know that moon is your chart ruler of the body, your health, your identity, your appearance, you could be seen as someone moving into a new environment or a new beginning with a sibling or a travel opportunity. A new educational pursuit is what I'm getting on the 23rd, but a beneficial one at that. Keeping in your back pocket that you're going to have a second new moon next month, but it's a solar eclipse. And what that means is the sun is being eclipsed. And the sun is the ruler of that natal second house of Leo, of your assets, possessions, livelihood, skills, resources, things that you value. The next new moon is being eclipsed out. So I'm getting you're getting into out of one environment and into another, but you're in transition, maybe in two minds, to do with travel, education, community, siblings, extended family members. Something's going on there quite big for you. Okay, the next day on the 24th. So now, just excuse me. So now moving forward, you're in that building phase. That new moon phase is starting to grow, 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 grow. And that means there's something churning that's going to keep you engaged moving forward. But Virgo will keep you very busy and like, what's the details? Give me the facts and the figures kind of phase. Okay. All right. So the 24th, the sun is squaring off with Uranus. Now, now this is a new alignment. The sun hasn't squared Uranus yet because Uranus is only fairly new in Gemini. All right. Now the sun is very sturdy. It's about leadership. It's control. It knows itself very well. It just is the sun. Think of it like that. The sun knows who the sun is. Uranus is flighty, unpredictable, acute, disruptive. It's very chaotic at times and wants to do its own thing, run its own race. It's interested in liberation and freedom. But Uranus is the awakener. where things are, you see things for what they are. You can't unsee things. That's Uranus. It's like the aha moment. That's a great way to describe Uranus. So when the sun is very sure of itself, cruising along in that natal third house of travel, education, siblings, extended family members, community, the sun is sort of weighing things up there, and then it's looking at Uranus on the 24th, and Uranus is going, oh, I don't know. This can create a lot of isolation and distance and loss, and so this on the 24th can be a day where you really are in split of two minds, which could throw the confidence off on what you're trying to begin. So heads up there on the 24th, it can be a very mentally stretched kind of day. Moving on to the 25th, we now have Venus leaving your natal first house and leaving Jupiter in Cancer to do his magic until the 30th of June 2026. And Venus is now moving on into the natal second house. So Venus is now sextiling Mars in Libra. This is where I think it gets interesting for you astrologically, at least from the 25th of August to September 19, with Venus sextiling Mars. So now Venus is in that natal second house of Leo, the sun sign, and we know the sun is in the natal third house of Virgo, where the new moon was. And Venus steps into Leo, and Venus is all about what I love and value. It's non-negotiable. She lockjaws in on relationships and people that she can connect with that are going to benefit her. And in Leo, they benefit her in a very indulgent way. They shower her, they revere her, they love her. And this is that natal second house of assets, possessions, livelihood, skills, resources, the house of valuables. So this is a very lively transit from the 25th to the 19th of September with Venus in your natal second house. So when we love what we love, it's non-negotiable in Leo. Leo is a fixed fire sign. So this is all about just expanding on the reach for nobility and success and standing out from a crowd. So this can be a lot of hard work going on here is what I'm getting with Venus in the natal second house, working really hard to connect with movers and shakers that support you in a financial capacity or with your livelihood or with skills or resources. This is like getting down to brass tacks kind of transit with Venus in the second from the 25th to the 19th. But now that Venus is sextiling Mars, this is good from the fourth to the second house. So now Venus and Mars can start agreeing. So this is where you can start talking things out and going there about real estate and property and parents and parenting and getting down to, looking at the just and fair parts of any aspect of our lives regarding real estate, parents, and your valuables and livelihood. You can really start getting into it, start having debates, talking things out, getting into any legal aspects more organically should you need to, now that Venus is sextiling Mars from the 25th to the September 19th. So that's quite good. Okay, on the 25th, we also have just this day, when Venus does ingress into Leo, she's trining Saturn and Neptune retrograde in your natal 10th house. So it's easy to benefit with anything of an official capacity. Your career or your public name and identity could go through a transition a lot more organically now that Venus in the second house is trining the natal 10th house. So I like that for a return of some sort of authority or power over what's going on in your life. That looks really positive with Venus trine Saturn and Neptune retrograde. Venus on the 25th is also sextiling Uranus. And we know Uranus is the fair game kind of planet. Anything could go with Uranus. But the fact that Venus is sextiling Uranus, and Venus, she's about relationship and unity, and she's sextiling Uranus, which is unpredictable, anything can go kind of planet. This can feel like a day on the 25th where it's it's surprisingly easy to let go of things, is what I'm getting for you on the 25th, which is lovely, especially with that trine to the 10th house. But Venus is opposing Pluto. This is where it gets astrologically more nuanced, for better words, on the 25th. So the 25th is a pretty big day astrologically. So Venus opposed to Pluto. So Venus in Leo, which she knows what she loves, she knows what she values, and that's the end of it. It's non-negotiable. And when she's looking at Pluto across the solar system in the natal eighth house of Aquarius of other people's resources, death and inheritance, Venus is going, I do not want to go down the same old, same old. So again, this heralds it's time to end things, detach from things that are weighty, have been going on for a very long time. And it could be like a dispute of finances going on here on the 25th as well. Okay, so the 25th is the day of watch your P's and Q's, try to not be so trigger happy with your thoughts and your feelings. Think about things, but do things with finesse and class if you have to go there with something or with a subject matter kind of day on the 25th. Okay, so that's the astrology. So let's wrap it up in a nice red bow, which is what I really think Cancer rising signs are trying to do, is what I'm getting in the month of August. So astrologically, there's potential to detach and end things that are way too long while you're trying to get something going and motoring at the same time. So easy does it. The lunations, the moon being your chart ruler, is a big full moon, which I just think is very jarring or bit difficult potentially. May not be. Leave any comments in the comment section. I could be really wrong, but I'm not too sure if I am. Because the moon really doesn't like, your chart really doesn't like being in the Saturn zodiac sign like Aquarius or Capricorn. So it can feel a little bit dense on the 9th. But, once we see things for what they are, or, we come to peace or come to terms with something that we haven't seen or have maybe been glossing over, we can process it and deal with it, difficult or not, for better or worse. When we know something, it's it. It's it. It's unchangeable. And how we navigate moving forward is completely up to us. We can be reactive or we can be proactive. And then after the 9th, that moon's in that waning phase where you're just slowing things down, just really digesting and embodying what you've learnt on the 9th and trying to navigate how to move things forward. And that new moon, powerful new moon conjunct fixed star Regulus, is like an opportunity. But you can be feeling like, is it right? Is it wrong? Does it feel good? It can be overwhelming with Virgo, very analytical. So a lot of back and forward with that new moon. But for the Cancer rising signs with that Venus conjunct Jupiter in the natal first house on the 11th with Mercury direct, it just feels like there's something that you can move forward with that gives you a lot of freedom to move, but that also feels at the same time there's something that's really disturbing and anchoring at the same time. So yeah, like again, feel free to leave any comment section below. That's just what I'm getting, a double-edged sword astrological month for the Cancer rising signs. We know the benefics are in the natal first house, absolutely, but benefics can be a lot. A lot of life coming in. So there's just a lot happening, whether that's you instigating the changes or it's coming from outside of you. There's just a lot of happening. So very excitable, emotional month for the Cancer rising signs astrologically. Okay, if you want to work one-on-one with me and go deeper into your blueprint with your natal chart, or if you have any astrological questions, you can contact me at cosmicgirl101@protonmail.com. Till next time, Cancer rising signs, stay cosmic.